from the Checkered Pony. Welcome to episode 12 of my knitting podcast, which my husband and I have very affectionately renamed my KnitCast. So yes, that's what it's going to be from now on. This is the Checkered Pony KnitCast. I think that's adorable. I absolutely love how much support I'm getting from my husband. He's just really encouraging me in this, and I really appreciate him. He's really trying to show excitement for my interests, and that means the world to me. So this is the Checkered Pony KnitCast episode 12, and welcome. To get started, I just wanted to share a few thoughts that I've had, but just recently this week, if you have been watching some of the national news here in the U.S., you've heard about the horrible tornadoes that went through Nashville, Tennessee. Well, I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, and that storm hit very close to home for me. Pretty much all of my family is still in Nashville and Mount Juliet area, and so they were impacted by that. And so I just wanted to say to everyone who has been showing support to Nashville and to Tennessee, I just want to say thank you because being so far away out here, I'm in Washington State, and being so far from everything that's happening and feeling helpless to be able to really do much from here, it means so much to me when I hear of, people just thinking and praying for the people of Tennessee and reaching out and being supportive in any way that they can. And so I just wanted to take a minute and say thank you, and just share that with you, because that's been weighing on me this past week. That's really been one of the biggest things that has been on my mind. And all right, we're gonna dive into my whips. I have 3 to show you today. One of them is one I've been working on for over a year. It's not even close to being done. I didn't bring it up to show you guys for my last episode, but I did bring it up this time. And this is the Cozy Memories blanket. I started this, I remember, almost exactly a year ago, but I have since just been working on it here and there. And so what I've gotten to is 5 squares across and 5 squares down. So now I have, if I can get it all in here, definitely 25 squares done. Which, it's getting close. It's approaching the size that I would think would be appropriate for a baby blanket. If anyone I know and love happens to have a baby anytime soon, be prepared. But I think I still want to add at least a few more rows to it, one way or the other. Make it more of a rectangle than a square. But in showing you this, I feel like even with 25 squares, I feel like I have barely put a dent in the yarn that I have for this blanket. You guys, I've got to show you this. I brought it up just to show you. And I still, in addition to this bag that I'm going to show you, I know that I still have probably 2 or 3 skeins of yarn somewhere else. But look at the size of this bag, okay? And this thing is stuffed. I mean, it's not like a little bit stuffed. It's stuffed to the top, okay, of all the different color yarns that I'm using for this Cozy Memories blanket. I mean, it's just absolutely overflowing. So it's like, oh my word, if I was to use up all of this yarn, how gigantic will that blanket be? I mean, so I'm just assuming I'm gonna have to make more than one to actually be able to use up all of this yarn. There's just so much. So that is the Cozy Memories blanket. Still a work in progress. Definitely still working on that. That's something I've been able to get very comfortable with working on downstairs, like after the kids go to bed and I've got a few minutes to turn on a show for myself. I'm very comfortable sitting down and knitting this and really not even paying that close of attention anymore. I've almost gotten to the point where I can very comfortably knit without looking. It's kind of crazy, and it excites me because I've always thought to myself, man, if I could just knit like when I'm asleep, Wouldn't that be amazing? And so, you know, I've always heard, and I actually had a friend who first inspired me to start knitting in college. She could sit in class, in our college classes, and she would just knit. She'd listen to the teacher and she'd be watching the teacher and she'd be sitting there knitting, and I'm going, oh my word, how is this possible? It's amazing. And so I've actually gotten to that point where I'll comfortably, like, I can do just a knit stitch for maybe 10 to 15 before I have to look down again and double check, make sure I haven't like just slipped the stitches off and thought that I knit them. And same thing with purling. If I'm going the other way and it's just a straight row of purl, I can probably, I'd safely say, do about 10 stitches without looking. So I'm awfully proud of myself and I'm going to continue to work on that. So there is the Cozy Memories blanket. Up next is just a little bit of progress on my vintage Fremont. I've only added in a few of the lace edge repeats, I'm pretty sure, since I showed it to you last. But you can actually see pretty well, I think, the eyelet lace edging on this side. And then it's a stockinette, not stockinette, it's, come on, Lindsay. It's knitting back and forth, which makes purl ridges. Is it purl ridges? Oh my word, you guys! My mind has gone blank. Please tell me what I'm missing. I'm just knitting one way, I'm knitting back the other way, and it makes, right? Just the purl ridges. Silly, silly me. But that's coming along nicely, I think. And I do have to show you this. And my 4-year-old is sitting right here next to me. So I'm going to show you this in my brilliance. I was brilliant before I show this to you. I laughed at my own level of intelligence, but now that I'm about to reveal it to him, it's extremely unintelligent of me because now there's no way I'll be able to keep it a secret. But this, I have my vintage Fremont, and I have it, my yarn stored in my adorable little yarn holder that I got from a knitcrate, but also inside I've had a lot of trouble with my children finding my treats. Every once in a while, Mommy wants a little sweet treat, and every time I get something for myself, you can bet they will find it. Well, I have actually hidden. Look, see, there's my beautiful yarn. That's all we need to see. I hope you saw it. I don't want to say any more. So yes, this is a lot of fun to work on. The other work in progress, the other whip that I have is the Daxis shawl, and I didn't even bring it up to show you guys because I'm certain all I've added are maybe like 4 rows of stockinette stitch, which is not going to look like there's any change in that whatsoever. So those are my 3 whips. It's all I've got. I think I've been behaving myself so well because there are so many things that I'm just dreaming of casting on. I want to make so many beautiful things. And I'm really trying to focus on finishing the things that I have on my needles right now because it makes me feel so good to complete a project and then be able to share it with you and show it to you. Whereas if I just have like 15 things on my needles that are only half done, the progress is not going to be as, you won't be able to see as much progress, and that makes me crazy. I want you to be able to see the changes just as much as I want to see the changes. So I'm limiting the number of things I have cast on. So I'm going to try to get through like this vintage Fremont, try to get through the Daxis shawl, and then once one of the other is finished, then I will branch into starting something, maybe another large project. I mean, having 2 shawls going, I'm not going to cast on a sweater as much as I want to, but having 2 shawls going and a blanket, I don't mind casting on, you know, a pair of mittens or a pair of socks or a hat or something, because those just take a few days. But as long as these are going, that's it. All right, now for finished objects, I have 1, and I'm wearing it. This is the mystery knit along for the Rose City Yarn Crawl. that was this past weekend. So Quinn, my 4-year-old, and I went on the Rose City Yarn Crawl, and he was such a great helper. He was a wonderful road trip partner and navigator and co-pilot, and just, we had a blast. And so I have some pictures of our adventure and of my shawl in the making, and so I'm going to actually put those in. I'll insert those now so that you can kind of see what it was like, and then when I come back I'll show you all of the goodies that we found, and I'll tell you a little bit more. All right, you guys, I'll see you in a second. So you can see we collected buttons. I didn't take a whole lot of photos of the shops, which I really wish that I did. Looking back, I wish I had taken a lot more photos of the shops. So I'll keep that in mind for next year, but he really was a trooper. And so here is the bag that we collected from our trip, and all of our buttons, which he insisted on counting at every stop. And he was very excited that we got a finisher button. And so the theme this year was just all about birds, and everything was just bird related. And so I will show you my finished object, which is my shawl, which actually still hasn't been named officially on like Ravelry or anything. But if you can see it, it's all blocked now. This is the end. This is the edging that I added. The pattern actually stopped after this mosaic section, and then I had so much yarn left over. I was like, oh my word, I have to do something with this yarn. It's too pretty not to use. And so I added in a section of stripes, then I added in another repeat of the lace from over here, and then another little tiny section of stripes, and then I just finished it with, if I can get close enough, some seed stitch. And so I was hoping that would tie into the rest of the shawl okay. A lot of people kind of came up with their own endings. A lot of people also just follow the pattern, which I normally do. It's just this yarn in particular was a bit of an investment, and I wanted to make sure I used every little bit of it that I could. And actually I really did, but I love the way that my shawl came out. It was really a lot of fun. Alright, so here is our bag, and I will show you what we got. One of the shops we went to last year I had gone to, and I had picked up some orange sugar bush bold, and I had an intention to use it for something in particular, but then it just never really happened. I didn't really find a pattern that I really loved and I was excited about making, and so I have 2 balls of this this yarn, but in a beautiful rusty orange color. And so when I went back to this shop this year, I went ahead and I just picked up a pretty basic, a neutral, just a cream color, and my intention with this is just to do some stranded color work, either making a hat or a pair of mittens, you know, something along those lines. So that's why I just went ahead and I picked this up. And I will say I was very limited this time around for the yarn crawl, because I was on a very tight budget, a self-inflicted very tight budget, because I saved, and I was saving every little dollar that I could, but then, you know, life happens, and it's like, oh my word, I've saved up a little bit of money, but we really need milk. And so, you know, things come up and stuff happens, and little by little my stash got, my mad money got picked away, but I still had a little bit to use, and so I had to be very careful. Last year I tried to make it a point to just buy some things, even if it was something small, from every shop. There's 10 shops. I couldn't do that this year, even for something small. It wouldn't have been possible. And so if I was going to get something, I had to make sure it was something I really, really wanted. And so this is one of the things that I was like, okay, I feel like this is a wise, a smart purchase. So that's what I got from one of the shops. Another one of the shops that I went to is one of my favorites. But I loved the pattern for this. It's a hat, like these birds. They look like birds, like flying, if you can see it. They had made up these precious kits, pretty much, where on the yarn crawl, if you made a purchase in the store, then you were gifted that shop's patterns for free for the yarn crawl. There were exclusive patterns, and this was the pattern for this particular shop, for the knit pattern, and I just loved it. And then the fact that they had the yarn already put together. By purchasing the yarn, I'd be getting the pattern, plus they had it marked off like 10% off. And so I was like, oh my word, it's malabrigo yarn. Okay, and it's Frank Ochre. Guys, I have talked about this color. I love Frank Ochre. I love ochre. I just love these colors. They are so beautiful. And then this one is called Bobby Blue, which my husband's name is Bobby. So I was like, this is meant to be. This is just absolutely for me. So it was great because it was on sale, and you know, there were just so many things about it that were good. This is one of my splurges. I already knew that I wanted this pattern in particular, and so it was a splurge, but it was already one that I had planned on doing anyway. So that one is that. Now, every other shop I went to, it was so hard because there are some yarn brands that I've wanted to use and I've wanted to try for years. I wanted to try spin cycle yarns. Oh my goodness, they're so beautiful. And one of the shops I walked into, and it was just like, you walked in and it's just this table and it's just piled with all of the beautiful different colors of spin cycle yarn. Oh my goodness, I wanted them so badly. I had saved my money for some things in particular, and I was gonna stick to it. Woo! It is not easy. Okay, but the last shop I went to is the Naughty Lamb, and it is just gorgeous. Everything about that shop is just beautiful. And so I had purposely tried to save the majority of my money for when I was there, because it's further for me to, it's the farthest store. It's the one that's the furthest away. Of course, it would be my favorite. And so I just knew that I was, you know, gonna save my money for this shop. So I got there, and of course I want everything. It was just, and did not disappoint. There was everything there that I love. So still being on a budget, I couldn't go crazy. I had to be really smart with what I got. And so what I ended up getting, I feel like was still smart, because part of it is I invested in a pattern, and this is called Cardamom Coffee, and it is by, oh come on Lindsay, Boylan Knitworks, but it's Caitlin Hunter is the designer, but then you can find her at boylandknitworks.com, and she's Boylan Knits on Ravelry. And I'm certain if you've done any knitting, you've heard of her, you've seen her patterns. She's just amazing. And so I went ahead and I invested in this pattern, and in the pattern, it like most patterns, suggests a certain kind of yarn. Well, what I also love so much about Naughty Lamb is they generally have the yarn like right there next to the pattern. The yarn that was recommended were unicorn tails in different colors, because there's 3 different colors in this hat, and I absolutely loved the look of this hat. I just think that's so pretty. I love those colors, and so they had all the colors that I needed. So I needed 3 of the darker color, which this colorway is called Whiskey Barrel. And it's like, it's brown, but it also has almost like a black, but also kind of a couple of streaks of blue. Like this one you can see it has like some streaks of blue. So that one is the darker part. Then it also calls for the lighter yarn, which this one is called Antique Lace. Okay, and 2 of those. And then the little pop of color in there is called Glazed Pecan, depending on where you're from. Glazed Pecan. And so I picked up all, what is it, 6? Yeah, 6 of the unicorn tails to make this hat. But I love it because I feel like I have so many minis, and I mean, just having the pattern, I have so much yarn that I can use to make this. And so I invested in a pattern and some unicorn tails, but it was kind of like my yarn crawl miracle because I got up there to pay, and I carried cash. This is how serious I was about making sure that I stayed on my budget. Is I only took cash. I didn't use my card at all, except for a coffee. I used my card for that. But everything, all of my yarn or patterns or notions, whatever I was buying on the yarn crawl, I had to pay with cash. And so I went up, and like my hands were sweating when I went up, and I was like, okay, this is what I want. And she rang it up, and it came down, it was to the dollar what I had. Like, I came home with like 76 cents, guys, okay? It was perfect. So, you know, the treats and the goodies that I ended up coming home with, I really think that I put a lot of thought into. They're things that I will absolutely use. But like I just said a few minutes ago, I am not casting on anything until I have completed one of these shawls that I'm working on. But I'm keeping all my goodies in my Rose City Yarn Crawl tote 2020. And then also, this is the part where you guys come in, if you could. They are drawing all of the winners tomorrow for all of the prizes. There's grand prizes. There's like 60 some odd prizes that you can win from this yarn crawl. Granted, there's thousands of people that are, you know, doing this yarn crawl over these 4 days. So the odds of my winning are not great, but if you could just say a little prayer, because I feel like I was so good. I behaved myself and I didn't spend a lot of money, so I would love it if I just won. That way I could still have all of these goodies. It would just be so fun, so nice. That's all of my whips, finished objects. Now, last time I was with you guys, I was wearing a sweater, and I had told you guys it was nice, but it wasn't really something I was going to be wearing a lot, and I didn't want to waste my yarn. I don't want to make it sound like it was a waste. I loved the time that I invested into it. It was fun to make. It was beautiful, but that yarn is gorgeous, and I want to make it into something that I'm going to use and wear a lot. And so I told you I was going to deconstruct that sweater, and so I've got a couple photos. So, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is I managed to get all 3 hanks apart. And I do have 3 full hanks, well, now they're cakes, of Madeline Tosh Farm Twist in the colorway called Then Luna Lovegood Fed the Festrels. And I just absolutely love it. These colors are just beautiful. I can show you one. It's like there's a green in there, but then there's just splashes of every single color. There's pink and purple and brown and orange and yellow and blue and teal, and I mean everything. Seriously, everything. and I want to use this to make something and really showcase this yarn. The bad news is I forgot how many times I split some of these hanks. I think only one of them is actually whole. The other ones are like at least cut into 3 different sections. So that's kind of a bummer. I measured them all, and I tied them all back together. And I measured them all, and I made them as equal as I could. I'm trying to remember. I think they all came out to be about between 115 and 117 grams each. So they're pretty even. Plus, depending on what I make them into, you know, I can hide a knot. It's not going to be difficult. It just, I forgot, like, especially for the sleeves, I was trying to balance out the colors, and I forgot how many pieces I had split this yarn into. But now they're free to be used, to be made into something else, and I just am now, though, asking myself, so now what? I'll have to come up with something. So that was my frogging. This was definitely the biggest thing that I've ever made or ripped apart. So lots of new stuff going on. All right, moving on to business. I had mentioned before in my other episode, I had started up an eBay store, Checkered Pony Resale, and that is still going. I have sold out of all of the wooden yarn winders that I had, so I have some more I'm going to list on there in the next couple of days. I will try to also list some different types of things on there. I have some yarn that I want to put on there, so but be sure to keep that in mind. Last time I also mentioned that I was going to take my change jar into the bank and have it cashed out, and I did that, and I ended up having like $27 and some change, and so I have that ready to be able to go out and go to a couple of different places and look for some more like crafting items that I can list on my eBay store. And the last thing I have to say today, this morning was when I got the notice that my channel had finally reached 100 subscribers. And you guys, that's huge for me. I am so excited. Like, I never ever thought that I could get to 100 subscribers. I am so happy to have you all. You are amazing, and I am so excited. And so I want to really encourage us to keep going. Okay, 100 is great. So I want to celebrate having 100 subscribers and have my first, and I'm gonna try it, guys. I don't know how it's gonna work, but I want to have my first giveaway. I have a shawl and a ball. I've been going through my stash, and I have to get rid of some stuff. I mean, I just am never going to be able to knit everything. And so this one is called Calming Desert, and it's got some really pretty browns and tans, but then it goes into like a really bright pink and purple. It's just beautiful. I would love to be able to use this and make something into it. It's just, I don't have the time. So I really hope that one of you can use this. So what I would like for you to do is just go down below and make a comment. Let me know one thing that you are looking forward to this spring, okay? Because spring is in the air. I finally got my window open. Please, I will ask, make sure that you are a subscriber to my channel. And then just comment below, and then the next time I'm able to make a video, I'm going to randomly select from one of the comments. Make sure you like the video too. Of course, it's so simple. And then I will try to get this out to you guys. I am gonna ask that this only be US residents. I don't know anything about international shipping. It's something I'll have to look into. So if you are out of country, I adore you, but I'm gonna have to say this particular giveaway this time is only gonna be for US residents just because of shipping. I don't want to ask you guys to pay for shipping for any of my giveaways. I've got to be smart too. So this is the giveaway for this time, okay? And I'll give you some specs on this. And now we're like drilling outside. It's spring, wow. All right, so this is 58% cotton, 39% acrylic, 3% other. I don't know what the other is, but cotton and acrylic, not too bad. It is a suggested medium, size 4, and there's about 518 yards in this. Calming Desert, here's the colors. Oh, it's kind of dark. I don't know if you can see that very well. Okay, but it's really pretty. I absolutely love this, and it's soft. I think you'll really like this. So, you know what you gotta do. And just as a little teaser, now I cannot ship this basket because it weighs a ton. All right, so I've got all kinds of skeins of yarn, again, that I'm not gonna use. I have a little notions bag in here, and then I have some stitch markers that I made myself. And so there's 4 little stitch markers or progress keepers on here. There's a little owl, there's a little a stone, there's one that says made with love, and then there is a feather. And so I will include some stitch markers or progress keepers in with this one, and I wanna say, my goal for this one, to be able to draw for this one, is going to be 250 subscribers. Okay, so I'm going to have this one ready. We'll see. I might add to it. I might start the next collection for my next level that I want to achieve. But this is going to be for 250 subscribers. And so, guys, share this video. Bring a friend. Spread the word. Enjoy. All right, so that's really all I have for today. That's really all I have. You guys are amazing. I hope you all are healthy. I hope you all are happy and well and safe. I love you all. I will talk to you later. See you next time. Bye-bye. What are we doing out there? Oh my word. Okay, they're done. Now we're hammering. I don't know if you can hear that. Oh my goodness. It's springtime. Let's build something.